Thank you so much for joining me. It's wonderful to see you, even if digitally, during the LVMH Watch Week. New launches.
So we meet first now with digitally, and then on the 10th physically. So extraordinary. We are lucky.
So I'm looking at the two watches that you have in front of you, and I think that these must be the mysterious watches. And I have to commend you on creating this incredible movement called the Piccolissimo, which is this tiny mechanical movement, 12.3 mm in diameter, 12.5 mm thick, which is now powering these watches in the Serpenti Misterioso collection. Please tell us about it. Wow.
Well, first we're celebrating, this movement was born not only as a celebration of 80 years of secret watches, because this year we celebrate 80 years of secret watches, and probably the most consistent saga of secret watches, as over those last 80 years we have continuously crafted secret watches, and Bulgari is probably the brand most famous for secret watches. Just look at the auctions. Those watches from the late 40s, the 50s, the 60s today are usually getting prices much higher than new versions. And this encourages us, obviously, to further develop them, not only aesthetically, as you can see in the later versions, whether it's with yellow gold, diamonds, and emeralds for the Dragon version, which is a kind of flagship of this watch. But also combination of turquoise on pink gold and diamond with rubellite. So we wanted really to provide this collection with further appeal, and we wanted that to be both outside the aesthetics of the jeweler, but also inside. As you know, I mean, those watches were born with mechanical movements. Then with the quartz revolution in the 70s, all those movements disappeared to the point that until Piccolissimo, there has been no micro mechanical movement on the market. There are a few industrial ladies movement on the market, but as you know better than I, those movements are pretty thick. Diameter is often a bit too big, and they don't allow designers to find really the right aesthetic for the head of the watch. And it becomes very tricky for jewelry watches, which often, because of the creativity, require ultra small movements. And therefore, most of the extreme jewelry watches nowadays are powered by quartz movements, which is working obviously because quartz is of good quality, good accuracy, but somehow, you know, for the sophisticated client is a kind of inconsistency between a body which is worth 300,000 euro and totally manually crafted for up to 1,500 hours. And on the other hand, the quartz, which is electrical and felt as a kind of artificial body or artificial art into a true masterpiece of craftsmanship. And therefore, I'm convinced that those watches deserve mechanical art, and that's why we decided to develop from scratch Piccolissimo, capitalizing obviously on the extraordinary experience of micromechanics we have developed with Finissimo, but obviously reinventing a totally different movement. I mean, we talk about a size never seen before. This is the smallest coin you can find in Switzerland, 5 cents. I'm sure you don't even remember it because it's a coin that it's very difficult to use because prices are very high in Switzerland, so 5 cents doesn't take you anywhere. However, the coin still exists. And as you can see, the movement is much smaller than the smallest coin. And you mentioned yourself the dimensions. And to get there, we had obviously not only to use smaller components, but more importantly, to rethink and reinvent the horological chain, to simplify it down to 84 components and 21 jewels. So it's probably the mechanical movements with less components on the market, at least in the very high end, providing, however, ultimate accuracy and reliability. I have to say that fewer components mean often higher reliability. because the more components you have, the more risk you have, obviously, in terms of quality. So it's an advantage. And at the same time, obviously, it enabled us not only to have that small volume, but a point that we hardly ever mention with micro mechanical movement is difficulty not only to craft the components, but to put them together. And when you have 84 only, it's much easier than in Finissimo when you have up to 160. Yes. Even if on Finissimo you have a broader diameter, but you have a lesser thickness. So this watch has been also designed, in terms of maintenance, in terms of assembling. Despite the very small size of components, the eye can hardly see, because I can tell you a lot of components, if not the magnifying video camera we have right now, a lot of what you see, if you can zoom a bit more if possible, yes, this you could hardly see it with the naked eye. So imagine an operator in Le Sentier workshop. It was very important that those components would be few, small, but not small to the point that you cannot handle them. And this has been one of the challenges in developing and industrializing that movement. And also, in such a small volume, we had to develop everything new. The balance wheel, everything has been designed specifically to fit in those ultra small dimensions.
That's amazing, and I really applaud the integrity that you have to take the most beautiful and iconic jewelry piece, which is a Serpenti, and now offer it to be made also with a mechanical movement. I think one of my favorite things.
One other innovation I'm very proud of my name is the easy way to handle it. Traditionally those secret watches were very difficult to set up and to rewind. And then the idea is great, because if I take the head of the snake, I just push down, and then it opens, and I just take out a small module, which is a jewel in the jewel. It's a part of the head of the watch. So you can see it could be the head of the watch, if not the snake. And so this small module, you can imagine, could find its room also for many other jewelry watches. So what we have built is a platform, primarily, starting in our secret watch because it's 80 years anniversary, but a platform which you can imagine can be used in many of our forthcoming jewelry watches creativity. And it's also very functional. If I switch on the back of the watch, you can see quite a big crown. I say big, why? Because always showing my coin, then the crown is very big versus the coin. And it's much bigger than the crown of any big watch. If you take a men's watch, 48 millimeters, the crown will be smaller. So oddly, and the paradox is that this watch has the biggest crown on the market. Why? Because we wanted it to be very easy to handle. So I just pull it up like any crown, no genius. The crown, you pull it up like on a normal watch, and it's bidirectional. So if I turn it one way, I set up the hour and the minutes. And if I turn it the other way, I rewind the barrel. And it's so easy, I'm a man, I have big fingers, and I can handle it, in a very easy way. And then when it's done, you just push it back, and then you take your head, you reinsert it in the mouth of the watch, and I put it the other way around, sorry. So you put it back, and then here you are, your watch is ready to start. So there has been a lot of thinking, in developing that watch. So it's one of the, if not the only watch with people left-handed, because you can turn 180 degrees the module so that it fits, whatever, which is another very interesting feature. So the team has been not only hugely creative mechanically, because this is a masterpiece. I think compared to Octo Finissimo, we talk about the same challenge. I think it has been as difficult as Finissimo, but Finissimo has made our life easier because of the accumulated know-how. And then when you look at this way of taking it out, what Catherine said about 180 degrees for left-handers or right-handers, a lot of obsession has been also invested to make it easy to use, pleasurable to use. And obviously, this crown with a bidirectional mechanism has been patented. So it's unique to Bulgari. And again, will provide Bulgari high jewelry watches with further advantage besides the aesthetics, which has ever been obviously one of the main reasons to possess them.
Brilliant.
So I think something major, you know, we were used to micromechanic for men, and now we have to be used about micromechanic for women, even though 2 years ago with the tourbillon in Seductory, we had already a first inroad into micromechanical movements with the tourbillon. Here it's one step further, I think, because the module ID makes that movement already ready to go in many other designs, which is something which is extraordinary.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. And one of the details that I like best about this movement is that the balance wheel is made of gold, which I think is really cool as well, to give it the optimum inertia.
Yeah, and unexpected, you know. And what's unexpected is that's so easy to handle.
Yes. Yes, it's brilliant to be able to put it in a modular format and be able to flip it 180 degrees and be able to wear it on your right or your left hand. Absolutely brilliant. What should we talk about next? Because I see next to you also is a emerald Grand Sonnerie.
Yeah, I mean, no, you know, we wanted the Geneva, the LVMH Watch Week, to be very much focusing on the jeweler of time, embellishing time, and obviously this means a lot of jewelry with the new watches. So we have seen on Mysteriosi that we have pushed further the art of the jeweler, adding a mechanical jewel inside. And here with Octo Roma, Grand Sonnerie, we are further obviously developing our Grand Sonnerie art. You know that there are very few watch brands in Switzerland still mastering Grand Sonnerie. It's something extraordinary. We craft in Bulgari 3 to 5 a year. Just because we have only 3 watch masters, we have the capability to design and assemble them. So we want each of them to be one of a kind, and this time consistently with the theme of embellishing time, jeweler of time of the LVMH Watch Week, we have tried to create the most Bulgari ever watch, meaning by that the absolute fusion between the best of Swiss micromechanical engineering with this Grand Sonnerie, because there's nothing better, together with the best of Italian design, Octo Roma, and the best of the art of high jewelry, namely baguettes. And this unique combination you can see on the screen of emerald baguettes, diamond baguettes. There is also some pavé, I mean, on the lungs, because you have also to break the monotony of the baguette. But probably the most extraordinary masterpiece of Bulgari, embodying the duality of that unique brand, stemming from its Italian and Swiss origins, and capable, I mean, to put together its two arts, the design and jewelry art born out of Rome, and the Swiss mechanical art born out of Le Sentier. So this is probably the most emblematic piece ever crafted by Bulgari in that. We shouldn't sell it, probably we should keep it for our museum because it says Bulgari. Besides, it's colored, so there is a strong dimensional brand DNA thanks to the emerald and the alligator strap. The price is also an high jewelry price, logically, because we talk about, you know, the movement itself is more than 1,000 hours of work to put together, and the watch is close to 1,000, so we talk about 2,000 hours, which is really the very top end of high jewelry when it comes of art. And this will be sold 1.6 million euro. It's unique, but on the other hand, we can imagine that we will see once a version similar but using sapphire rather than Paraiba, rather than ruby, name it. So what's unique is the fact that the emerald piece is the only one. And we have already, a lot of questions from people passionate about jewelry and watches about that watch, so I'm pretty confident. Unfortunately, it will sell quick, so I'm glad to show it those days because I can cherish it and touch it myself. After, it will be gone forever.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Do you also have the Octo Roma Blue Carillon tourbillon as well?
I should have it unless, Antoine stole it away from me.
Okay.
Because we have 3 live studio right now during those days. One with Fabrizio, one with Antoine, and one with myself.
No worries.
So some watches like Mysteriosi, we all have them. Some unique pieces, obviously, as there's one only. If I have this one, Fabrizio don't have it. So now I will pass it over to Fabrizio for his interview. And as an exchange, I will get the one you are looking after.
Fantastic. Perhaps in the meantime, we can talk about the Serpenti Sedutore and the Serpenti Turbogas as well, which are...
Yeah, you know that the lacquered black dial is a signature of Bulgari, which started with Octo 10 years ago. It's a technique which we master very well, and it has become somehow a signature of the brand. And we have decided, based on the success of Sedutore, to complement the range of Sedutore with that dial, borrowing to Octo both the lacquer treatment, this really deep black, very, very luxurious, and obviously the Roman numbers, the 12 and the 6, which combined with the black are really saying Bulgari. So this is adding, I think, a lot of strength and character to Sedutore. Sedutore, as is already successful, but I think with those black version will appeal to a broader clientele of ladies of somehow strong characters, strong beliefs, who like the strongest contrast created with the lacquered black, with the pink gold, with the diamonds, or with the steel and diamond bezel. So an extension of a collection which was born in 19 and which started to express itself in 21, because in 2020 we had to stop the launch somehow because of the COVID. So the real launch was last year, and last year was extraordinary in terms of results. And I believe that with that further addition, we'll keep the momentum and the full steam on Serpenti Sedutore, but not only on Sedutore, because Sedutore is a daily watch which didn't take any market share to Turbogas, and so we are coming with Turbogas with 2 new executions in yellow gold. Yellow gold is back. Still Asia is more pink than yellow. However, yellow is back very strongly in the US, more and more in Europe, and yes, in Asia as well. So I think that for such a mainstream icon as Turbogas, it was very important to be competing on 100% of the market. So we're adding a full gold at 35,000 euro and the steel and gold at 14,000. Renewing, by the way, with the origin of Turbogas. Turbogas was born in yellow gold, and so there is a lot of legitimacy as well on that piece, as we are bringing back through Serpenti Turbogas the yellow gold, which was the first Turbogas when the legend started. So again, a piece with a lot of legitimacy and a very nice aesthetical balance when you look at the steel and gold. I think the steel and yellow gold is really fascinating and contrast even better than the pink gold, because the pink gold doesn't manage to contrast as well with steel as the yellow, which is created a stronger contrast. So I think it's a very, very balanced watch in terms of aesthetics, and a watch which will, together with Sedutore, continue to increase the franchise of Serpenti in the daily luxury market, because if this is more occasional as occasions to wear, obviously the purpose of Tubogas and Sonnerie is to be daily watches which you can wear in any occasion, whether it's casual or formal, but watches which are very versatile and meant to be worn every day. But now, Mareko, Antoine, who's very selfish, has decided to relinquish the watch you wanted to see. But we will give him this one. Maybe you want to give that to Antoine. You know, I'm a good guy. I'm swapping a 1.6 million watch for a 300,000 one. So
one of a kind to only 30 pieces, limited edition.
So this one, you know, the beauty of it is, and I think we can see it right now, is so sorry. Okay, but trying to zoom on the dial, you will see we decided to go for a skeleton dial so that you can see the hammers. Can you see them?
Yes, absolutely.
So again, it's all about beauty. The bellezza della meccanica, so the beauty of mechanics. So we decided to go for that skeleton dial, not only to further enhance the tourbillon, but also to enable the hammers to be part of the show, beside obviously the beautiful music coming out of the hammers. So this, I think, design-wise, is an extremely interesting masterpiece. The contrasts are very clear, very sharp. The blue is unusual because we are more used in watchmaking, you know, to this kind of full blue treatment. Here, I think it's even more contemporary and elegant with the Parti Pris of Fabrizio, which is a kind of grid skeleton. A grid which obviously opens a lot where you can see the hammers, and is more hidden where you don't have any hammers. So it's very logical. And a beautiful piece, 30 units limited edition, and really a watch which by all means you can wear daily. I just wanted to show you also the back, if we can. Yes. So the back also is very well crafted. You know, I'm quite happy that we do that in Zoom, because I'm not sure that when you're gonna come on the 10th, you will see as many details with your eye, unless you have a magnifying lens. And the beauty of Zoom is occasionally, despite the distance, which is frustrating, to provide you with the understanding and appreciation of some details with our naked eyes, sometimes find a bit hard to find.
That's absolutely stunning.
Here you have also a detail you can see. I will show you here. Sorry. Here you can see. Well, sorry. Okay. So if you look on. Excuse me. I will do something easier. So if you look there. Where is my finger? Okay. Okay. You can see a QR code.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we are now putting QR codes on our watches.
Wow.
In terms of traceability.
Yes.
So in that QR code, you have a lot of information. Very useful, obviously, to our maintenance department. Where a lot of information has been stocked. So you will see in the future more and more Bulgari watches coming with QR code engraved on the back of the watch. Can be engraved on the oscillating mass if it's a mechanical watch. Can be engraved on a bridge. So it can be engraved in many different locations, but we are paying a lot of attention also to the maintenance, to the traceability, to the authenticity. And so what you can see on that one is something you're going to see generalized on most of our watches, as we believe that it's also an advantage for the final client, for the repair centers, to have this kind of information readable on the spot.
Amazing. And I love how advanced you are to the rest of the industry. So that's absolutely brilliant. Jean-Christophe, may I ask you about the lovely Lucea Intarsio, please?
Lucea is celebrating its seventh birthday, so it's still a very young icon. Extremely successful in the Chinese world, in Japan, in Middle East, especially since last year when we introduced the first Sonnerie dial. Why Sonnerie dial? Because Lucea means light, and so the Sonnerie effect is further, enhancing the light coming out of the dial of that watch. So as you know, it's a three-dimensional dial. You can see the three dimensions mirroring the sun rays and the sundial. This time coming in pink mother of pearl, together with the red alligator strap, so something that together with the rubellite crown is very attractive and meaningful to Chinese. And then we have, and this is an extension of what we launched last year, and we decided to broaden the range just because it has been very, very, very successful, and we want to provide our clients with more choice. And then the second version, et non quoi déjà? Is made of aventurine, so it's a hard stone, as you know, with this beautiful natural effect when you cut it, like if it were, a dark sky full of stars in the night. So typically the sky we see in Switzerland, where we have no cities, and having few cities, a lot of nature, we have the chance to see those skies. So it's a Swiss sky. And again, it's another way to express the light coming out of Lucea. It can be the light of a sundial, and it can be the light of the stars at night. And so this aventurine dial is perfectly consistent with what Lucea stands for, light. The light from the night, the light from the day, expressed through different materials, through different technologies, like the three-dimensional sundial, or choosing a hard stone, which structurally provide with this amazing effect, which is really, I think, in terms of beauty, in terms of preciousness, unique. So we have developed two versions with diamond settings on the dial, but also on the bezel, and two smaller ones. I would say more for the Japanese market. Those are more for the Chinese one, and this is more for the, the Japanese market typically ask for smaller diameters. So same principle, diamonds only on the dials, but really a collection which is really covering, I would say, Asian requirements. And obviously Europe is very fond of the sundial, so this should be also quite a good one for Westerners. Amazing. So Lucea is going on, in China the success is significant. It's as big as Serpenti. So for us, our Chinese success, or success with Chinese wherever they live, is very much built on ladies' watches, on jewelry on the one hand, and on Lucea and Serpenti on the other hand for the more daily watches. Yeah, I think that when it comes really to the news for this watch week, which is the first rendezvous of Bulgari with its retailers and with the media, it's very much driven by jewelry and what jewelry can bring to ladies' watches. To ladies, except this piece and the Octo Roma fully set, all the pieces are feminine. And then we'll have in 3 months the Watch and Wonder Rendezvous, which would be more masculine. We alternate, you know. And then we'll meet again at the Genoa Watch Days at the beginning of September, following the same principle of the first 2 editions, to discover the last batch of news, which will enable the brand to further grow and develop throughout Deepawali, Golden Week, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, and Chinese New Year. So 3 important times with 3 different themes. The first one being jewelry and femininity, as we have been discussing today, even applied to gentlemen with the Octo, Roma, Emerald, and Diamonds.
Amazing. Jean-Christophe, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, sir. Lovely new watches. What a great way to start the year. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for coming to Switzerland. It's a long trip, we know it, but it will be a pleasure to see again those watches and to put them around your wrist on the one hand, but more importantly, to have a great dinner with good wines, which we all cherish, and a good time all together.
I can't wait. So thank you so much, Catherine. Lovely to see you. Jean-Christophe, lovely to see you as well. In particular, congratulations on the Piccolissimo. It's so cool that someone's made a mechanical movement this size through a jewelry watch. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. See you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye, Wei.